G4 sitting on G5 sitting on the runway.
Big chopper called it
Beyonce.
Speaking of Beyonce.
Happy birthday, Beyonce.
And also happy birthday to my husband. So what had happened was that I have fumbled the ball on recording for the past couple of days. So now you have to record on your birthday. My apologies. But to be fair, festivities will be taking place after this recording. Anyway.
Yes.
This is like a nice, fancy podcast-esque setup because we do have a podcast entitled
A Couple Facts.
And you can follow A Couple Facts on Instagram at A Couple Facts and, of course, YouTube, which is where the podcasts are uploaded at A Couple Facts. All info will be down below. But I've decided that anytime I welcome my husband or invite my husband onto the channel, it kind of makes sense to do so and use this nice setup because otherwise we need to get all the use out of it.
Yeah.
Basically. Like maybe I need to start.
We just need to record everything.
Literally. So anyway, today I am just going to run through a very podcast style because y'all know me in editing videos. I would prefer not. So today, you don't even know what we're talking about. You have no idea.
No clue.
But as I was thinking about, I've been wanting to film this for weeks or probably months, probably years. But I keep pushing it back. And then one day it hit me. Because I keep not filming it. Maybe I should just invite my husband. It makes most sense considering the topic is about money and marriage. So today I have curated a list of the 10 money topics that I think that every couple should discuss before
getting married.
Facts. So that's what we're going to talk about. And these are just 10 things that I have come up with, but I feel like they're the most pressing and they are what we never have to disagree on or never have to revisit because we already talked about it before getting married. And if we do revisit it, it's just like a refresher kind of thing. It's not anything that's going to, yes. Obviously there are other topics that you should discuss before marriage unrelated to money, but these are just the money topics. So I'm just going to share those. I have no notes other than the 10 that I have put together. And then I thought we could just have like a regular dialogue. Chit-chat. I want to hear what your thoughts are. So I guess I'll share my thought first on each topic and then you can chime in or whatever. I don't know. We don't film videos.
I'll just jump on in there.
You can feel free to do that. Okay. So the first one I thought was accounts as far as separate accounts and joint accounts.
Joint accounts. Yeah.
Yes. I would like to speak for both of us in saying that I don't think it was even an option to not have joint accounts. Yeah. And so we already knew we were going to have joint accounts. In my experience, especially as a person who manages our finances primarily, it just makes so much more sense for his money to come into the account and my money to come into the account. And we have one, all of our accounts are joint. Not only do we have one main account where money comes in and money goes out, but we also have both of our names on all of our accounts, thus making them joint accounts. So every account that we have, it's a joint account outside of my business account. That's because it actually can't be joint unless I moved it, which I haven't done, but it just has money for taxes and like subscriptions and stuff. And that's where the pay days from the business or whatever that goes into there and then, gets paid out to our main account from there. But anyway, what are your thoughts on joint accounts and like what was your thinking prior to us getting married and all of that behind joint accounts?
Well, I always knew I wanted joint accounts. I guess just because when you see two paychecks going in there, you just seem like you got more money. That was just my thing behind it. But, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people's issues with joint accounts or, that whole debate thing, I feel like a lot of it comes from trust. They have trust issues from the other person.
Or from a previous relationship.
From a previous, yeah. I think
that was a non-factor. I want to preface this by saying that was a non-factor for us because we were both each other's first real relationship. Yeah. Prior to, anything before 18 is null and void if you ask me, unless you're still together and it went past 18. If it didn't go past 18, it's very much giving childhood friend. Did you see that little meme that says if we dated before 21, you're a childhood friend, you're not an ex or something like that?
No, I didn't see this.
Anyway, so I'd never actually been in a relationship, period, but he had been in a little relationship with a little girl, whatever.
Yeah, a little high school.
whatever. He was like 17 or something. I don't know. Anywho.
I don't know. I was like 16.
Okay. 16. Well, anyway. 15, so 16. As far as I'm concerned, we were our first relationships. And so there was no bad feelings. Yeah. So it was just a natural thing to do.
Even I can understand people cheated on and high school. That was just a little high school thing, so it didn't really count. So,
although I feel like you did have hurt from
I
that.
was definitely hurt. I'm just saying that it doesn't count, I guess.
Well, no.
Even though I was hurt, it doesn't count.
It does. Your feelings are valid, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Anyway, so that did take place, but like as far as our relationship, it was built on a pretty sturdy, solid foundation.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, there was no distrust. There still isn't any distrust. So I don't see why we wouldn't share accounts. Plus, it just makes it so much easier. His money comes in, my money comes in, we pay all the bills, everything's together. If something happens to me, everything is going to run smoothly in my absence because you have everything right there that you need. Because you can get into every account that I can get into, whether you log into it or not. That's between you and God. But just kidding. But you don't ever like keep up with it as actively as I keep up with it, but
because
you could.
I know you're keeping up,
right?
with it.
But you could, or if anything happens, vice versa. Anyway, it just makes it so much easier. But
I do feel like joint accounts are easier, and like with separate accounts, it's like,
well, I think
you can't keep an eye on what.
I don't think that's the point. I think that's also supposed to be a trust factor that if we
trust what I'm doing over here,
if we are supposed to contribute, let's say the separate people are going to contribute X amount to the bill account, then the expectation is that will take place. And then whatever the other person is doing with their money, I mean, you can't really keep an eye on it. I mean, you have to assume that whatever, if they say I'm saving $500 towards our new car, and this person says I'm saving $500 towards the new car too, then you just have to assume that, or have to have conversations and be on the same page. So I don't know that it makes it any less trustworthy. Like I don't think I would trust you less.
That's more work because you got to keep on checking in.
Exactly. I would never,
as opposed to just checking.
Yes. I don't think I would trust you less if we had separate accounts. Like I would still know your spending habits, and like, I mean, I might even, I guess, look in there every now and again. I don't know how people do it, but like,
does the other person have the password to the other person's account?
All I know is that it takes out. We just have to log in one account and see and look and move money and whatever, and it's just so much easier. Yeah. So those are my thoughts on joint accounts, and so because of which, we haven't had, like, that's just a natural thing. We don't think about having separate accounts or whatever the case is. So that's one thing that we were able to mitigate having discussed this prior. The next one is similar, but also like how to go about paying bills and budgeting and how that will work. Of course, if you have separate accounts, then somebody might say, I'll take these bills, and somebody might say, I'll take these bills again. You just trust that if your lights are still on, that whoever was responsible for the electricity actually paid the electricity. But I think that was another thing. I think it was always pretty much understood that that would be the role that I took, only due to my organization, but due to my organizational nature as well.
I mean, well,
I'm not saying that I would have been
I'm not saying bills are due and or what I used to.
Okay, well, Georgia.
No, I was about to say I used to before you took over.
Georgia Power just texted just now, and they said a reminder that the bill of how much?
I have no clue how much the bills are.
Is drafted on what day?
On the 3rd.
No, because the 3rd is passed. So there's that.
The 7th. It's the first 15 days.
It's the 9th.
The 9th.
So there's that.
I was close. I said the 7th.
Child. Anywho.
But we actually get to see the bill on the 3rd.
I saw that last month.
On the 17th.
No.
Right,
when they first texted, it was the 19th of Friday. Oh no, they first texted. Oh yeah.
On the 5th.
They first texted on August 19th. So there's that. Anyway. But also how to go about budgeting and what that was going to look like. Are you going to have budget meetings? Just how the overall management of the finances was going to work. And that's a separate conversation, I think, regardless of if you have joint accounts or separate accounts. You still have to figure out like who's going to be responsible for what bills, how that's going to work. We don't have to have that conversation really because our bills are on auto pay, our investments are on auto pay, and our check deposits automatically too. So we don't really have to have.
It's all in the same account.
Yeah, ours is just goal oriented rather at this point. But some people, it wasn't always like that. So that's a conversation that I think, like, who is going to manage what bills? When are we going to come together to talk about the bills? Whether you have separate accounts or joint accounts, like how that.
Yeah, it should be like a little check-in thing, and I guess maybe at the end of the month or maybe in the middle, and be like, "Hey, you got enough for these bills? Did you pay that bill?" And just make sure everything.
I guess this comes up to me because I hear people that I know talk about how, like, one might have bad spending habits, one might have better spending habits, and so the one who doesn't have great spending habits will kind of like be lacking on their bill, like the bills that they have. Like let's say they are responsible for their student loan payment or car payment or whatever, and then they're drowning, and then they're bringing the issue finally to the person that's better with money, right? And so I'm just saying that's like behind and right. All that, yeah. That's something that before, as I tell the people who I have in mind, that is probably something that should be worked out before getting into a marriage, because ain't nobody got time to be in a full blown marriage and you are supposed to be responsible for. Let's say it's a bill that's technically that person's, like their car payment, as an example, yeah. And they're not paying their car payment, or, like it's all sorts of jacked up just because they haven't established what that's going to look like prior to getting married. So that was my thought process behind that. You have something to say?
No, I don't know. I was just that could get sticky with like,
how sticky it gets
with like, I don't know, like you're not paying your bills, and then
it's gonna get very sticky.
Stuff's about to happen, and now you just bringing it up.
Yeah, because if you can't manage
like
your
you definitely got to talk about that before
for
marriage.
Sure.
Like that's a red flag right there. A person who like instead of paying their bills goes out on a trip or spends it on just frivolously, and yeah,
for sure, conversation that has to take place. Which we had many a conversation about that. Let's be clear.
Oh yeah, you had to cut out your spending.
I had to cut back on my spending. Let's be clear about that. But I'm just saying, like, prior to discussing that, and I feel like the best thing I ever could have did for our marriage is I was stuck to my word. I always told him, because he always didn't really spend a lot of money and would encourage me not to do so as well. But I always told him that once we got married, like once I got a ring on my finger and once we got married, blah, 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 I would literally change my ways, which I know that probably sounds doubtful, but that is the case. I feel like as soon as we got married, like after that, that's when this channel came about, actually.
That's when she started budgeting.
Yes. And so I feel like what we've accomplished now due to the work that I had to do to better my relationship with money is like way different from what our lives would have looked like had we. Plus, I don't think he would have married me anyway had I not been committed to improving my relationship with money. Because it's one thing to say that you want to live this lifestyle, but it's another thing to not actually actively work towards it. Like you're going in me as an example, I was going in the opposite direction of financial freedom and security and liberty and all of that. So the next thing I thought is debt. Not so much, conversations about how much debt you have, but also how you view debt and what that's going to look like in the marriage. Because we knew our debt, which when we combined our debt, that was the situation. I mean, like to see how much we had.
Yeah, together. It's one thing seeing your own debt, but then seeing what other people have.
So having a plan on how we were going to mitigate that, if you even have plans of doing that. Some people are not in a place where they're trying to eliminate their debt. But if you are, then I feel like you need to have that conversation. If one is, maybe the other one isn't. Either way, you got to have that conversation because, again, nobody has time to be having money problems,
and some people that just can be don't avoided. Believe in paying off debt.
That's what I'm saying. Some people are like, I'm gonna die.
Like I was the person. I wasn't gonna ever pay off my student loans.
Yeah, when we say some people, we're probably talking about one or the other. He used to always say like whatever to my student loans, but I used to I'm like, it's like 20 something thousand. I know that's not. I know that that is a lot of money, but like in the grand scheme of things, I mean, we buy cars. I mean, we've bought a car that was 20 something thousand. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like that's a whole big, huge amount of money, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm like, that's something we could feasibly pay off. And so, yeah, he was definitely, while saving and all of that, not really into starting that process of paying off debt. So we had to have that conversation because I'm like, let's get it popping. So we got to
also another area of debt, like credit cards and stuff.
Yes.
Something before we got married, I didn't really like do credit cards.
Yeah, you didn't mess with credit cards too much. And that's another thing. I don't know that we mess with credit cards a lot, but with like it ain't like we got hella credit cards, but we do have one for points. And then I got, the Best Buy one that doesn't have any nothing on it.
Way back.
Oh, you're talking about before getting married. Okay. I was talking about like leading up to the marriage. I got what you're saying. You're talking about like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm talking about like when you signed me up for a credit card.
Yes. But I'm talking about before you get married.
Did y'all hear that? The Fed are the feds watching? That's forgery.
You told me to.
I did not.
That's
a scam. That's a whole scam.
How did I get your social security card?
Because you're a scammer.
So it doesn't matter because
somebody might take that too. You're not a scammer.
Well, first of all, your account is hacked, so let's talk about that. Yeah, talking about scammers is not really that funny because his Instagram account is currently hacked by some scammers, some hackers. I don't know if they want some money, but they're not getting any. Anyway,
folks in Nigeria.
Yeah, some people in Nigeria. Oh, well, I think they're bouncing it around from hacker to hacker because one will sign in from
Alabama, then Kentucky, and then
Nigeria. They're bouncing around. But anyway, yes, he did have his first credit card, probably like a few years before we got married. But I mean, it's kind of a non-factor because that credit card has no balance and it just
yeah. It's been paid.
Although your credit card annual fee is coming up, do you know how much that is? I mean, this is your fee that you've been paying for years, so.
It is less than $500, right?
$25.
It's $25.
And do you know what day?
Oh, I was gonna say $300. That was gonna be my guess, or $100.
Do you know what day it's due?
The 17th
of
September.
No.
Of.
It ain't due 17th at all.
The 3rd.
I'm just saying you act like November. You in tune with all of our bills.
November.
September.
It
actually happens to be the same day as our electricity bill, if you remember what that day is.
9th.
Mm-hmm. So that happens every year. But anyway, yes. Also, your views on debt and also your views on debt when you're married. Like I think we're okay with going into debt for a car more so than we would be for
accruing new debt. That's something
more so than what other, I don't know, like financing a riding lawnmower for like $5 or whatever. Like that's not something we're interested in doing, but a car. And I'd say maybe that's about it.
I'd be interested in financing a riding lawnmower for $5,000.
You're just interested in the lawnmower, not financing one. That's about it. I don't think education is anything I'm willing to go further in debt for.
See, that's a struggle right there. Education, because like in order to get like the next degree, you got to
pay for it,
or
work at a job that'll pay for it. I'm not interested in going. I mean, if I furthered it, I would need to pay out of pocket, which I think we could do.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, you were thinking. You do go back and forth, but yeah, we would try to cash flow that rather than going into debt. But of course, if you're not living on campus and all that, college is pretty affordable. All right. The next thing is children. Not so much. Of course, if you are going to have them or if you're not, but also the amount of them. I always think about if I were born before 1950, I'd probably have like 5-6 kids just because of how the world was structured by then. But as of right now, I feel like 1 or 2 is and will always be
plenty.
Our number that we can comfortably take care. It's like dogs. I would love to have more dogs if I'm being realistically, but boarding them I would have at least another dog. Boarding them is going to be expensive. We got to pay insurance on the dog. We got to feed the dog. That's going to be another couple $100s that we would add to our budget. Our dog already takes up probably like $150 to $200 each month with like all her different things. So that's another amount that we would add. So yeah, I'm not interested in having a bunch of dogs and a bunch of children just because of that reason, which might be sad, but that's the fact of the matter that our budget doesn't. I mean, you only earn however much you can earn. I know some people, keep going and striving to earn more and all that, and I believe in doing that, but like, what is my life right now? I'm not going to work in like extra shifts to pay for a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not willing to do that. So what we can comfortably afford currently is a dog and a child.
What if you have more kids than you can afford?
One or us?
No, like just in general.
Well, I think you just have to.
What if you got more kids than?
I mean, people live. That's the reality that people live through every day. So you might have to struggle. You might have to pick up extra shifts. You might have to severely cut back on your lifestyle, X, Y, and Z. I mean, there's a lot of different factors. But I think we've always agreed that 1 to 2 max would be all that we would.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, what if you have 5 kids and like you're already at your limit?
What are you asking? What do you?
And then you have another kid.
What are you asking?
And
like,
they're twins.
What your resources are? So what do you do?
Yeah. Like,
me or just a person?
Just a person.
That's why a lot of people have financial struggles. Not just because it's because
that can get hard.
Huh?
That can get hard.
Yeah. I have kids. Live here. Could, but we be sitting on top of each other. Like,
yeah, like what do you like? You gotta. Well, you gotta make accommodations and all that.
Yeah, I guess we just get rid of all of our. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It get tough. So yeah. Unless you. And if she's watching, I don't know, but at 40, her first kid, and now. Did I tell you that?
Oh no, you didn't.
So now she's gonna have 4 kids under like 1 or 2.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's a big life change.
Now you got to get a new car if you want to carry 4 kids in a car seat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, assuming she still has a car that I remembered her having, or the husband has a car that I don't know if he has a car. I mean, like, unless they got a van.
I mean,
or
eventually
a big SUV.
somebody's.
Yeah, I'm saying you have to severely like accommodate for that. So I think lots of people take that into. I think some people don't, and some people could take, what life will be like into consideration. So if we can't, my theory is if we're outnumbered, or if we can't fit in my car that sits 5, both of our cars, we got too many children. That's my thought. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Next is college, not our college, but really our children's college, or how that looks. Like as far as if you're going to be, if the 2 of you are willing to help pay for it, or whatever the case is. And so, what are your thoughts?
You got 7 kids. Somebody ain't going.
a couple people. Yeah, I would assume if I had 7, literally only probably like a few of them would actually make it to college just in general. And that I definitely wouldn't be helping all of them.
I mean, only a couple of them would make it to college.
I assume only 3 would actually, like half of them would pursue a college degree, and the other half would just be pursue a trade.
I don't know. You just made it seem like, oh, I'm only going to have 3 achievers and the rest of them are just going to be.
Listen, whatever path children want to take, I feel like it has a lot to do with their parents and their upbringing. And so, people might think that we would like our kids to go to school just because we went. And if they want to, they can. But like if they want to do something else, they can do something else. I mean, the alternative isn't always like working a corner, stripping. That's what you make it sound like. Although I'm not bothered by how people get money. But anyway,
our kids are gonna play sports.
Well, he's convinced they're gonna play sports anyway and be like NBA players and NFL players, which I feel like they have a better chance. They're more like, their chances are probably higher to be a stripper. Like, I'm just being honest. So you should probably maybe rewire your brain to start thinking about other alternatives. Not like the most extreme on one end and then the most extreme on the other end, but maybe somewhere in the middle. They might work at McDonald's and be the manager. I don't know. I don't care. They have
a better chance of being an actor in Hollywood.
Than what? Working at McDonald's and being a manager? They do? Is that a real statistic? Well, they're probably not going to do that either. But either way, I think we both want to help our kids with college, whether that is like paying for all of it, especially if they go somewhere where it's affordable, or paying for some of it, or whatever we can contribute to help the kid get through college or whatever. That's something we stand by, and that's not wavered. Like if we have some money that we could, we started college fund. That's first things first. But also if we have cash money when they're going to college, or as that time comes that we can help them with college, that's like a major thing that I wouldn't like. If he was not interested in it, we would probably have some serious issues, because I would fully be interested in helping my child not to struggle through college. I feel like some people think people who get it out the mud go on to do great things, but I think sometimes people who don't have to struggle so much can focus on their studies. Like, what if the kid wants to be a doctor? Well, they ain't gonna be able to work full time like I did in college, and to get to excel, they're gonna have to, I'm sure, I would assume, actually pay attention and go to class and study and all of that, So like, if they want to pursue something like that, it's a no-brainer that we're gonna help in whatever way that we can. Next is retirement planning and investing. I'll let you share your thoughts on why that might be important.
Because that's where, you need to know where you're going to put your money and what you're going to do with your money, how you're going to spend your extra money. Mm-hmm. And if one person's down to invest it and put it away for the future, and the other person, just wants to ball out and spend money how they want to spend the money, then that could be sticky.
Yes. I think about like when folks want to retire, sure, the traditional retirement age is like 67, but some people might want to retire early, and so you just have to be on the same page, because if I'm trying to retire early and the other person isn't, it's going to get real sticky, because we're not even working towards the same goal. So just kind of having that conversation to see.
Sometimes you're not even on the same page at the same point in life.
Right. So that's a conversation you might consider having before. And just retirement and investing in general, because that's a little tricky, because that's technically saving money, but it's so far away typically when you're going to actually access that money that it's almost like, a difficult concept to even understand. Like, our most expensive bill each month is investing, and we pay more towards investing and saving than we do, our mortgage and our car and all of our other bills and whatnot. And so that's just a life that we chose, but that's something that's really important to me. But if it wasn't important to you, that would be a situation. Because he's like, yeah, I mean, we got extra money, we can retire early or whatever. Let's get it popping. So, that's kind of what led to our financial advisor process of hiring one of those. But I thought that would be important. So we don't ever have to. All we do is talk about, like, if we can make any changes to be better at it. We don't actually talk about our goal. It doesn't waver. Like, our plan is still, if we have $2,000-$3,000 extra left over at the end of each month or whatever, that needs to go to saving or, something.
Figure out where it goes.
Yes. And it depends on what strategies we take for saving for retirement and investing, but that's something that is important. Next is net worth. And I thought our conversation about what our net worth was before we got married, it's kind of like just seeing it's kind of like running through what debt each one has, what savings each one has, and like kind of running through where the person is currently with a holistic view of their finances, because that's important. I'm not just talking about how much debt you have, but also what do you have in savings? Like, what do you have? Some people get married and one might already have a house or a car or, different assets and different liabilities, but having a conversation about what those are prior to getting married.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I just remember, I think whenever we like tallied up our debt and did all of that,
I think we were just trying to see who had the higher net worth, me or you.
Net worth. Yeah. I think that in that moment, I just remember when we were tallying up all of that, we were able to see like what your net worth was, what your liabilities and assets were, and what mine were, which helped to guide us as we move forward. It's kind of like
we started to make goals and stuff and move forward.
So like technically his net worth has always been higher than mine. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, now that's pretty much a non-factor really, but you know what I'm saying? Like technically when you came in, you had less debt and blah, 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 blah. So just having those conversations, I think, are helpful. Next is
credit. And I paid for a car.
You did. Next is credit. And
I feel like we talked about that when we talked about debt.
Kind of, sort of. So should we skip it?
No, we're talking about credit. What else we got to say about credit?
Well, I'm just talking about like what your credit score is and looking at your credit
score.
And like taking a deep dive into debt. I guess what I'm saying is, it's one thing to be like, oh, how much debt you have? Oh, I got 20,000. How much do you have? I have 30,000. Oh, okay, cool. And then you just move on with your relationship, move on like it's no big deal. But I think like taking a deep dive and taking it a step further to see, what your credit score is, and because what if you want to buy a house one day, or what if you want to do this or that?
Yeah, your credit score, all that's important
for a lot of different things.
When you start to,
when you want to buy stuff,
that's important. Your credit score, that's important when you want to buy stuff like a house, like a car. You get a lower rate, lower car payment, and all that.
Next I had was saving. Not so much what you have in savings, but really, what your current savings rates are, if either one of you are even savings, and then what savings is going to look like in the future, as far as, do you want to have a certain amount in an emergency fund, or a year's worth of expenses saved, or what is saving going to look like for the both of you?
Emergency fund or
whatever.
Sinking funds.
Yeah. Just kind of talking about what savings is going to look like, what you guys would like for that to look like, because that could be something that's kind of like one and done, if you will. It can be like, all right, let's say you both have $15,000 in savings when you go into the marriage, and you're going to have joint finances. That could be like, let's deposit all of our savings into one account, and boom, we're done with like that. At that point, that's like $30,000. So that's all the savings that we have and that we're going to need, and and like in moving forward, or maybe one person's job is unstable or something like that. Do we want to work,
save a little more?
Do we want to get how much
Get
do we
to a
want to have
certain
in savings?
number,
Do we
yeah.
even need savings? Sometimes I'm not
How
saying we don't need
much do you
savings.
feel comfortable
Yes.
with? Yeah.
But sometimes savings is kind of like a non-factor because I'd rather invest that money, which is technically a form of savings, than have a bunch of cash lying around because
Not growing.
yeah, I mean, unless we're going to buy another car or something soon, having like $20,000 sitting around or $30,000 doesn't really serve us, only because, I guess because of how our income is currently set up and how our finances are set up. If a source of income was lost, well, we already save what is a monthly income each month, so we might just have to cut back on investing or something like that. So different people require different amounts for savings, and so that was my thought process behind that. And then finally, home ownership, and if or when home ownership might come into play. Some people might not ever want to be homeowners. I would say that he longed to be a homeowner way more than me. I enjoy having my home, obviously, but I definitely don't think you kind of attributed that having a house to like a certain level of success, almost kind of like.
Not so much. Well, yeah, but yeah, I guess you're right.
And some people, that's a normal thing because some people think that. But for me, if I rent it for the rest of my life, I mean, I wouldn't want to necessarily, but I
feel like I was on the path to be renting.
Yeah.
Because I would have never made the steps to like actually go get a house. It's like you started the ball on that. But I did always want a house.
For sure. And so boom, we got a house in the.
I think it's because I've always lived in apartments. I always wanted a house.
I got you. That makes sense. Huh. Yeah, I never really thought about that. I mean, I didn't own any houses that I lived when we were young.
But you had a house. It don't matter if you own it or rent it.
I got you.
It's a house.
So that's what I'm saying. We had different thoughts behind that. I've never owned.
I remember like in elementary school, I don't know, story time. When they used to say, draw a picture of your house.
You would put an apartment?
I mean, people would be drawing houses and I'm like, okay, do I draw like a house or do I draw my apartment building?
Yeah. I mean, I live in an apartment too, but I might mainly live in houses. But I never thought like, ooh, if I could be a homeowner, then, that would contribute to my overall happiness or level of achievement.
And then also when I was going to get a house, I always knew I wanted 2 stories.
Hence the reason why we have this big house.
Well, my insecurities, I guess. I don't know.
I keep trying to downgrade and move to a farm.
And move to a shack.
Yeah, a shack on a farm. That's my ideal life.
All right, well, how about we get a she shed in the back and you live back there?
No.
Then we could both have what we want. I got the big house and you got the
But if I come through this door and it's messy, that's going to stress me out.
Well, you're not going to come through this door.
I'm going to live in the shed?
Yeah.
I mean, that don't sound like a bad idea. You're joking, but
you want to be you're a minimalist, right? So there you go. So live in a she shed.
I don't know. My insecurity, if that's what you call it, comes in when I think the bigger the anything, the like more care it requires, the more it'll probably be filled up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, not if you're a minimalist. Yeah, I'm looking. It doesn't look very minimalistic.
It low key is minimal. I'm an aspiring minimalist. I always say that. If you walk into any space, any home or whatever of mine, it's like everything has a place and it's like not overbearing, like stuff falling out. You can't walk and stuff. Like it's clean and tidy, but I've definitely filled areas of this home with things because they just look weird kind of without. It's kind of like that little thing right there.
Space right here?
No, the thing with the thing.
The bag?
The little foyer little area.
That could have stayed empty.
If it was just empty and it's like a decent size, it would just be weird for me. So it would have
been fine.
The little thing. What do you call it? A hall tree? I think is what you call it. And you can like hang stuff and there's a sitting area. You can put your shoes. It's like a little thing I bought off Amazon. And so, that's normally it. And it's normally tidy. It has like a couple pairs of shoes there and all of that. But anyway, I just think if the larger you go with most things, the more maintenance and time and energy, effort, money, it's just more is required. And I like to do the least because why?
Because you never do the most.
Why do I like to do the least?
Wait, you like to do the least because you're wishy-washy? I don't know.
You tell me this daily.
Why do you like to do the least?
Because I live what kind of life?
Oh, because you do the slow life, soft life.
Yes.
Slow life, soft life.
So I want to do the least. I can live a very soft life in my shed. or on my farm, on my
Sure,
shack on the
sure,
farm.
Go ahead, live your soft life.
So that's all I'm saying. At least clean a little. I got to do less
I don't
cleaning.
think they know how I feel about soft life.
They don't.
They don't.
Let's not tell them in this
Yeah, I
video
don't think
because it's
that was
35 minutes. That too. Oh, so anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. The conversation topics that you think are important that you discussed prior to getting married, topics that maybe you're struggling with right now, you and your partner or potential partner or whatever. Boo thing, side piece, whatever. Let us know down in the comment section just your thoughts on this. And
that's serious if you're talking about those kind of things with your side piece.
Well, sometimes side piece turn into main piece.
They be talking about debt and all that.
Yeah.
And savings.
I talked about that with you.
Who be saving with their side piece?
I talked about all that with you.
I wasn't no side piece.
Yes, you were.
Shut up.
Just kidding. All right. This has always been my main things. Happy birthday to my main man. Happy 33 years around the sun. Do y'all know what that means? Let me know down in the comment section.
You should be embarrassed.
Why? Is that basic?
You might want to edit that.
Is that basic?
Yeah. It's called a revolution.
I don't know about revolution.
The Earth goes around the sun. It's called a revolution, and that's
science.
That's the equivalent of 1 year.
Is that science?
You know what a year is? A year is when 365. All right, so you know what a day is.
24 hours.
But you know why it's 24 hours?
No.
Because it takes 24 hours
for the sun and the moon to do whatever they're doing.
For the Earth to rotate. So one rotation.
The Earth is flat.
All right, you want to go ahead and wrap this up?
All right, you guys, that is it for today's video. We will catch you guys. Well, we probably won't, but we will catch you guys. I was gonna say we'll catch you guys in the next one. Not likely. It'll be me, but we will catch you guys over on A Couple Facts and on Mr. Budgets because we have a Cook With Me video coming.
Say, next time you'll see us together will probably be in the kitchen. Yeah,
on Mr. Budgets channel, and then of course we have the A Couple
Facts
channel as well. So follow us there,
and also on Instagram, A Couple Facts. I think I'm about to just use that as my personal account.
Oh, because you're hacked.
Because Mr. Budget.
Well, he can't access his account, but it's like.
Yeah, I just want to let y'all know, like, I could get into the account or whatever.
You can't do nothing.
I could post things when I actually get into it every now and then, but then after I get in, it's hacked less than an hour later.
We do invest in Bitcoin, but we don't fall for the Bitcoin scams.
Don't even put. We don't do nothing about Bitcoin. I don't know nothing about Bitcoin.
I invest in Bitcoin for us.
Don't send nothing. No, don't send no money. Don't send no.
Don't respond. Don't click no links.
Don't even open it.
Don't even.
Just go ahead and block it. And it's making me kind of paranoid or like weird about responding to messages. So don't be offended or hurt or in your feelings if I don't respond to your message.
Right, because you have access.
Because right now it could be anybody.
And we will let you know in video format when we get full access, if we ever do.
Yeah, because that account just might be deleted.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. So that is it for this video. I will catch you guys right back here in a few days in a brand new one. Bye, guys.